Alrighty, just trying to decide where I want that camera. Is that better? I feel like that's a bit better. And I'm going to angle it a bit down here. There we go. Yeah, hello, Megaleech and Kirsten in early. Nice to see you. Well, I'm going to do the standard thing I do and start by shooting a video and getting it out of the way. And this will be the only video I should shoot. So, got an array of bottles there because going to try and perfect a cocktail recipe. All right, so this here. Okay. BC Book. All right. Actually, let me gotta do a couple things. Get this camera over here. All right. Bring this over here. Further close up. And okay, going to make it first, and then worry about. Okay, get these already. That's it. And whiskey. Okay. Sugar syrup. Hey, honey, I see. Joined. That already. Let's see. Chartreuse. Cinnamon. Lemon juice. Honey sugar. Okay, I have a plan. Part of it would be fix the plug on this light. So that's going to electrocute me one day. Hey, Safa. Just setting this stuff up. How's that? Oh, that's good. All right. Let's make this. Wait. Oh, for fuck's sake. Oh, sure the other. Okay, I think this is a fucking bingo card. Because where's my jiggers at? I'm sure I had it in here. I always forget something. That should be on the bingo card. Me forgetting something. The jigger. Rather necessary for making cocktails. I forgot it. Good Lord. What a palaver. Oh, palaver. Okay, right. Fucking take two. Okay. So we are doing so 30 mils of this. Got a tiny bit left. Lemon juice. And honey syrup. Okay. Put that down there. Now we're going to add. Oh, wait a second. We've got to get multiple little glasses here. This one, and this one, and this one, and this one. All right. Right, put some ice in my shaker. Okay. Now I'm going to shake. Like a Polaroid picture. Oh, come on, I hate it when they get stuck. Strainer. Ah, fuck it. Fuck you. Fuck you again. Oh, fuck you the most. Okay. Actually, don't fucking overthink it, man. Now. Actually, be professional and rinse that out. A little bit of the dollar. We rinse. Rinse, rinse, rinse. So fucking enough. And finally, our bitters. Christ, I'm making so much fucking mess. I'm missing glasses, I'm putting stuff on the floor. God damn it. Ugh. What a start to proceedings, honestly. Alright. Now, better talky thing. Get this out of the way. Almost done. Well, I've got to talk for a few minutes. And I smell the bloody peat off that whiskey. Right. Fucking hell. Okay, that's ready. This is not ready. Let's make sure this is ready. I did actually. That was a freebie. Because I forgot my damn jigger. I said, where's my jiggers at? And as I said, if me forgetting something that I want is not on the bingo card, it should be. That'd be a gimme every time. G'day cocktail lovers. I did a short video the other day of a chartreuse heavy cocktail created by a bartender who's on Steve the Bartender's Facebook group from Germany, Thomas Veld. And I think I said his name wrong in the short. So really sorry, Thomas, but the drink is great. He called it an Ensign Iron Maiden because it was made in the city or suburb of Ensign, which is in Cologne, I think. And Iron Maiden because it had a lot of green chartreuse, which is quite a strong spirit / liqueur. I'm not actually sure where it falls. At 55%, if it's a liqueur, it's got to be one of the strongest liqueurs in the world. But anyway, green chartreuse. In the news a lot at the moment because of the monks not doing extra production to meet worldwide demand, which means it's getting harder and harder to find in various places around the world. But do I care? No. I just go ahead and make chartreuse heavy cocktails because the base recipe has 60 mils, 2 ounces of chartreuse in it. And it was a very nice drink. And I just thought it might go more to my taste if it just had a little something. And I wasn't sure exactly what. So I thought it would be fun to try a few little somethings and see which of those I prefer. So what I'm going to do is make a batch of the Ensign Iron Maiden and then split it into 4 glasses and just put a splash of a few things. Like my thinking was 5 mils of something in a full size serve would be making all the difference. So I'll be doing about half that in these because I'm doing these half size because I'm not doing 4 full size cocktails that each have 2 ounces of green chartreuse in them. No, thank you. I have somewhat of a desire to stay upright this evening. So I'll do half-size ones, and I'm going to do little splashes of peated whiskey. I'm using a Talisker 10-year-old. Absinthe. I'm using my bright blue absinthe, which is, 80% ABV. Going to do something bitter. I'm using Dolan's Bitter de Chambray. You could use Campari or something like that as well. And I'm also just going to do orange bitters. I was thinking 2 dashes of orange bitters in a full-size one. So I'll do 1 dash in the little one that I do there. So the standard mix is 60 mils of the green chartreuse. And like I said, I'm going to do double and then split it into 4. So into a shaking glass, I'm going to put 120 mils or 4 ounces of green chartreuse, and then 30 mils or 1 full ounce of elderflower liqueur, then 50 mils, just under 2 ounces of lemon juice, and 50 mils, just under 2 ounces of honey syrup. Then going to give that a good solid shake for about 10 seconds, and then strain it into 4 small glasses. And then in each of those glasses, I'm just going to do a little splash, about half a bar spoon, 2.5 mils of each of those things I mentioned. I'm going to start the tasting with what I think will be the most subtle of the changes, where there's just a dash of orange bitters in here. Yep, I can feel the difference the bitters makes. I think orange bitters might be the right bitters if you're going to do it, but you could also do a bit of experimentation with other bitters as well. I think that does actually improve it. But now, trying the second one. The second one is with a float of a bit of red aperitivo. Now, I tell you what, a touch of bitterness, whether it's the aperitivo or actual bitters, goes really well in this. Now the version with a float of blue absinthe. Okay, big surprise. The absinthe is more intense and makes a bigger difference. I think I'd probably experiment with this. Well, there'd be 3 ways to do it. Maybe an absinthe rinse in the glass, some actual absinthe in the shaker. I think the float might be too much absinthe up front, but the sweetness and the depth of the other stuff does come through. That's a very interesting one. The final variation, I've done a float of peated whiskey. That's really interesting because that's not the heaviest peat whiskey going, but there's a real waft of the smoke as it comes off. I'm thinking they're all good, and it's very interesting to do little tweaks across all of them. Which is better, I think, is going to depend on your tastes. I think for a lot of people, the addition of a little bit of bitterness is going to really add a rich complexity to this one. The absinthe, if you're an absinthe fan, I'd say definitely go for that, because that's a more pronounced difference. And the interplay between the absinthe and the sweetness of the other elements is really interesting. I don't hate the peated whiskey one, but it's a bit more unusual. Again, if you really like peated whiskey, I think you'd like this variation on it. But I'm saying if you want a mild change, just a little of a bitter aperitivo or a couple of dashes of bitters, or if you like a lot of it, you might even put more in. If you want something that's a bit more punchy and a bit more dramatic in the change, then maybe go for the absinthe. And in fact, I could probably amuse myself hours on end playing with those elements a little bit more. And I might do that another time. As it is, I have a reasonable volume of high alcohol cocktails to drink now. So I'll cut myself off here because, you know, alcohol poisoning and all that sort of thing. And I may revisit this, or I may even do another video where I play with tweaks on another cocktail recipe. Who knows? The future is wide open and an unknown country. And I hope to see you there sometime soon. Until then, I will say cheers. Okay. Let's switcheroony all this stuff off and just sit down and have some chats. That's 8 minutes. Okay, that was longer than I thought it would take me to do that. All right, but we're donezo. Switch this off. Okay. So now I just get to I'm gonna drink this one first. Get my chair. Man, that bloody peat smoke just wafts off. Like the tiniest amount there, and it just really wafts off there. Righty, roo. Okie dokie. Sitting down. It's definitely my least favorite. It does, that's the peated whiskey one. It does tone down the sweetness in the initial taste, and then the sweetness sneaks back up on you again. What is my computer doing to me? Jesus Christ, Facebook's a fucking shit show. All right, just having a little slag of the Facebook. Because they've started doing this top fan thing for just people's posts, and it's like, you only have to like one thing someone posting. You're a top fan now. This just reminds me of the early days with those fucking games that were everywhere, and your inbox would just be endless game invites. That shit used to drive me nuts. Would just be like, block that, block that, block that, block that. And then they just went away. Oh, we got a kitten video on the Discord. All right. Oh, I need to keep up with the Discord because you did monks laughing at businessmen comic version, and I quite like these. Although it's interesting, they've done Shaolin monks, and these are, of course, Christian monks who make the Chartreuse. The prompt was comedic cartoon image of monks pointing and laughing at a bunch of businessmen who are begging them to make more Chartreuse. Just good question, Heine. You can put, it's probably easiest putting it in the Discord. I mean, I don't mind. Aussie Gaming Mouse. But I'm going to share these pictures because I quite like them. These guys do seem extremely amused. Got their bottles of Chartreuse with them. And yes, they're having fun pointing and laughing, these ones. These ones also pointing and laughing. Oh, I love how some of them, like the hands are just completely fucked up on a couple of them, which I love. And this one actually has the businessman begging. Fun. Oh, okay. Let's do this. The kitten video. A little fuzzball.
Yes, I am.
Ah. Good little ball of fuzz. It's all fluffy. Ears sticking out everywhere.
Eat our footies. Eat our footies. Where you going, little one?
It's like, I've had enough food. Okay, stick my face in there. I'll eat some more food. If you insist, I'm going to eat some more food.
So tiny.
The hand for comparison. That is a very small kitten.
Look at that little face and those tiny little paws.
It seems to have disproportionately large ears, the little kitten.
Uh-oh.
That's such a funny little cat.
Okay.
There you go. Kitten eating. Yes, I was going to say, I'm pretty sure the ASMR of that was actually just the kitchen sink running. Really did sound like someone peeing, though. Very hard to escape the feeling that that was someone peeing. But that's the whole thing. Oh, now I'm just going to see. Actually, I got, I don't know whether to save it for Thursday or not now, because I'm drinking these chartreuse drinks, which are really quite high alcohol. I'll probably make the decision after drinking the chartreuse drinks. I got another one of my mystery bottles from my drink subscription from White Possum in the mail this week. Might save it for Thursday night. Taste test of a spiced rum. And I don't usually get spiced rums, but this is from an interesting distillery in Western Australia using Australian native botanicals. So it might actually be good. Because I'm one of those people who has the suspicion that spiced rums are putting the additional flavors to cover up the fact it's not a very good rum. Hi, Luke. How you doing? But, you know, we'll see what this one is like. I tell you what, that little cocktail with the peated whiskey is growing on me. Definitely improvement. The cocktail did definitely need a bit of balance. Yes, Kirsten, it's illegal tender. So yes, illegal tender spiced rum, bush tucker rum. So fun. Doing fine, thanks, Luke. Glad to hear you good. Yes, it was funny because the subscription service, this is the fifth one, like the first year, because it comes every 3 months. So the first year is like 2 of them, really cool stuff I wouldn't have found on my own. They're like, one was a whiskey and one was liqueur. And then one was a vodka, a vanilla vodka, which anyone knows me knows I wasn't very excited by that. One was a coffee liqueur, which, again, not a thing that excites me, but I did do swapsies with Kirsten and got a nice gin, which is much more my pace. And now I've got this one, the spiced rum. I'm quite looking forward to that. No. You know, it's a fun thing, having a mystery subscription, not knowing what's going to arrive. Oh, yes, I was going to talk about this with you tonight, Kirsten. Yes. So, for those who don't know, a generally accepted rule for whiskey around the world, and it is actually inscribed into law in Australia, you can't call whiskey unless it's barrel aged. And because it's the aging in the barrel that gives whiskey its character. Although, again, technically, I think the bourbon rules, there's not a year limit on bourbon. There's Scotch whiskey has a 3-year minimum. The Australian law says a 2-year minimum, the aging. So I think even though bourbon has all these rules, one of them is just it's got to be aged in a barrel, but you could literally just pour whiskey from a still straight into a barrel and then out again, and it would be meeting the rules of bourbon, but not Scotch whiskey, not Australian whiskey. Yes. Now, I don't know if I read the one in the Australian Financial Review, but I read the one that quoted every other distiller saying this is some fucking bullshit. Because, okay, 2 different Australian distilleries have come up with this process which fakes the color and they think the flavor of whiskey. And their processes vary from a couple of weeks to a couple of months, I think, or maybe a couple of days to a month. It appears these 2 different distilleries have 2 different techniques. Well, let's look up the bourbon. How long does bourbon have to be aged? Okay, you're saying 2 years. Minimum age for bourbon to be labeled as straight bourbon whiskey. 4 years or more for it to be called bottled in bond. So I think I've misheard something. Maybe it was just whiskey rather than bourbon. But yes, bourbon does have to be aged. So these 2 distilleries are doing this thing, which is faking the coloring and flavoring of whiskey, and they can't legally market it as whiskey in Australia because it is in law. It has to be aged for 2 years. So they've started calling it single malt, which everyone knows means whiskey. And basically all the other distilleries are saying, fuck you. And they're working at getting the law changed so you could only use the word single malt for something that meets the legal requirements for whiskey. Because they're basically saying these guys are bullshitting and they're going to jeopardize the reputation of Australian whiskey. So I think I may have seen a different one. Kirsten, you said the AFR article called them innovators. It was positive. The article I read quoted at least 3 or 4 other distilleries all saying, fuck this bullshit. So I don't remember exactly where I read it, but well, technically it's an innovation, I guess, coming up with a way to fake the look and potentially flavor of an aged whiskey. But yes, them trying to get around the rules for whiskey by calling it single malt is a bit of fuckery, honestly. Kirsten, you only skimmed out. Well, okay, let's see if we can find it. I'll just go on Google News and see if something comes up for Australian single malt. Okay, no, this was in the Sydney Morning Herald. So, the Sydney Morning Herald article, Sydney-based Goodrajby and Mountain Distilling in Victoria calling their product single malt to get around the restriction on the Excise Act of 1901. The move has angered distillers who say it's putting the reputation of Australian whiskey producers at risk. So, guy from... so, who are the ones who are doing it? Mountain Distilling and Goodrajby. So, Backwards Distilling says it's misleading consumers. These brands leave the term whiskey off their labels, but consumers see single malt as whiskey regardless. Therefore, the practice of these brands is misleading and deceptive. Because the law doesn't mention the word single malt. Goodrajby uses accelerated maturation cubes, produces the colour of a 10-year-old single malt whiskey in 8 weeks. Mountain Distilling's Red Gum single malts matured in just 14 days. Mountain Distilling founder says they intentionally avoided calling their product whiskey because it didn't meet the legal... Like, kudos to you for intentionally not breaking the fucking law. Oh, single malt's unregulated. We've borrowed it to give them an association. Yes, that's why everyone's mad at you. So, yes, the Herald contacted a reseller who was selling Mountain Distilling as whiskey and said, it's not whiskey. And they said, oh, you're right. We'll change that. And the guy deliberately using the deceptive term single malt goes, oh, yeah, I can see it might be confusing, but it's useful. Goodrajby founder says they're an innovation business establishing a new category of whiskey. So the Australian Distillers Association is reviewing standards. Many within the industry believe the term single malt is misleading, should only be used in reference to whiskey. So, co-founder of online retailer The Whiskey List is also critical of the term single malt. These products prey on the trust that consumers have and label their products as single malt, word whiskey off the bottle. Major liquor supermarkets like Dan Murphy's are fault as they don't do due diligence with the products they range. Another real distiller, Corowa Distilling, says, I think it's going to leave the industry open for people to try and cheat the system. We as the Australian whiskey industry need to hold the term single malt like gold. Anyone using it and abusing the term needs to be kicked to the curb. Manly Spirits Distillery says labeling a spirit as single malt when it's not been aged could be seen as misleading or confusing to the consumer. So there seems to be universal opposition to them. No, Kirsten. Okay, they did. There is a quote in the Sydney Morning Herald article, a self-given quote for one of these crew saying they're an innovator. Then there's half a dozen other people quoted saying, fuck these guys. All right. So, yes, I'm glad you brought that up. Yes, I know. You have the phone number of these people being quoted. A bit connected. Well, Megaleech, it's what was interesting is the only descriptor of what it does is it's the color of a whiskey. I think I've tasted one of them. I think one of them was at the Holy Water Festival. I'm not sure though. Anyway, absinthe trick. Look at the nice little blue floaty on it. Okay, I do like this more than the whiskey one. Oh, yum. Yum. Oh, wow. Liam. Okay. Big question. Find the VEP and other rare forms of chartreuse. You've got to find specialty retailers, basically. I don't know anyone in Australia who has them. So, Kirsten, you have tasted those speed ones and they're not good. I would trust you on that. Actually, I'll look it up. Okay, specialty, the most obscure Nick's Wine Merchants. Let's see what comes up on Nick's Wine Merchants if we search chartreuse. Okay. Nick's has Chartreuse Le Genepi. I don't know what those ones are. I've never heard of them. Oh, yes. Chartreuse 1605 Elixir Liquid. Chartreuse Elixir Vegetal. Yeah, Nick's has some obscure chartreuses. If you want to spend a lot of money. Yeah, chartreuse VEP for $145. I thought Nick's would have it. So there you go. Nick's has a shit ton. Oh, no. Okay, a bunch of them are sold out. So yeah, I think with the obscure stuff, yeah, I've heard that it's pretty good. My thing is you just need to find really specialty resellers. You're not going to find them in any big brand booze outlet. I'm trying to think of another obscure one. Maybe the Wig Cellar. What comes up on the Wig's Cellar? I used to like visiting them when they were in the city, but they closed their city store and they're online only now. Chartreuse. What do they have on the chartreuse front? We're on holidays. We'll be back sometime soon. Okay. Yeah, they only have green chartreuse. Yep. So finding the obscure stuff is really just find specialty retailers. Oh, now I'm sure, Liam, you're in the US. Okay, I'm sure you could find. I'm sure you could find a US specialty retailer. A bit of judicious Googling, maybe. I thought I remembered seeing that on the Archie Rose. So good Rajabi gin made by Archie Rose. There you go. Well, well, well. Oh, you have to tell your friends at Archie Rose. They won my blind taste test of 16 different whiskies with the rum cask finish. I want to do another one, probably with fewer whiskies, but with bigger serves, so I can take a bit more time and work it out, like which one I like the most. Oh, nice. Fake whiskey AI art. So, whiskey bottles with fake whiskey hiding in there. Yes, I that's a popular whiskey brand, the Trenintz whiskey. Very popular. They look like little hip flasks, actually. Green and yellow at your local. I literally because when the word got out, I thought, it's only a couple suburbs away. Carnegie Cellars. I thought, I'm sure they had chartreuse. And I went there and so I got an extra bottle of both green and yellow. And I was there the other day looking for something else. And I thought, have they run out? Do people know they had chartreuse? If they run out of chartreuse, they had half a dozen bottles still of both green and yellow. So let me think, how much of my green have I used now? Maybe I should get another bottle of green. There's actually not much left in this. Get it while the getting's good. I was actually, the thing I was looking for in Carnegie Cellars was, did they have Hellier's Road cream liqueur? And they don't. I might actually order off the Hellier's Road website, because Dan's just has the original, which is nice. I think the salted caramel was better. But they also have like the Nutella version, hazelnut. And they have a coffee one too. I don't like coffee, so I'm not getting the coffee one. But I might get the Nutella one. Technically called hazelnut, but because it's a creamy liqueur, so it's like a Nutella cream liqueur. Right. Working my way through the chartreuse. This one has a little red float on it. Bottle of green, it's about 95. I'm not sure how good their website is. Let me see. And this was about standard for green chartreuse for Australian retailers. Okay, I don't think they have a website that you can buy from. So I don't actually remember. Wait, is that their Facebook? Do they do stuff on Facebook? All right, they're a division of celebrations. No, so I'm not going to find prices on here. Now, I think it might have been $90 or $95, but I'm guessing for green chartreuse. But they have a danged amazing selection. Again, not paid product placement. Ooh. Oh, 7-year-old sherry barrel. Hey, Greg, how are you doing? Okay, now I just want to look at that. Hellier's Road Distillery. Where are we? Let's go to the shop. Jesus, they got a lot of stuff on this website that's sold out. Original malt sherry cask. So which one did you say I should be getting? 7-year-old sherry barrel. Single malt sherry cask. I don't know if that's the one you mean. Single malt twin oak. Pinot Noir. Single malt original. Cream liqueur. Wait a sec. What's this one? Single malt sherry cask. Oh yes, 7 years sherry cask. Fully sherry cask matured. All right. In stock, ready to ship. Oof. Make it worth my while. Oh my God, they sell chocolate fudge. They sell whiskey chocolate fudge. Okay. Honestly, I'm kind of tempted to get that. Whiskey chocolate fudge. Legolich, you're going to get the Helier because you're just a half-hour drive from Hellier's Road. Spoiled. I mean, I'm half-hour drive from several distilleries. But they don't have that cream liqueur. Oh, I think we should share this one to Hellier's Road and say it should be their mascot. And I've just clicked on totally the wrong thing. What am I doing? Though this is a 70-year-old sherry barrel with a Santa Claus beard. And look how I love. Yeah, that's pretty good. Look how fucked up the hand holding the cane is, and the face is off center in a very weird way. Oh dear. It's a funny old world. Oh, okay. That's the. Sorry. Okay, I think they've changed the bottle. Kirsten, because that's not what their bottles look like now. Here, let me. Oh, sorry. Okay, so people know what the fuck I'm talking about. Kirsten shared this on the Discord. So, is yours sherry cask Oloroso, aged 7 years? And if I look on their website, what am I doing? This is what the bottle looks like now. So I think they've changed their branding. Ah, yes. New CEO changed the branding. There you go. That looks like the same one. Okay. Okay. So, but yes, that's the same thing. 7-year sherry barrel. Yeah. Okay. Bottle looks like a different shape too, not just different labeling. Oh, and also I was interested in this other thing you shared on the Discord. It's on catch.com. I should look on there more often. This is actually pretty interesting. On catch.com, a chartreuse sampler. So 30 ml samplers, including some of the more obscure chartreuse. That one's quite interesting. So, Kirsten, are you saying what you have is the new bottle? Because yeah, those bottles from the website is what they had at the whiskey show. And yes, those ones on the website are tall, skinny bottles. And the one you showed seems like a more standard sort of bottle. So many chartreuses. Okay, it's starting to feel the alcohol. All right, so Kirsten, do you reckon if I bought off the website, I'm going to get the new bottle that you have, or the bottle that's on the website? because they're. I noticed the ones at Dan Murphy's are all the tall, skinny bottles. The cream liqueurs are in the tall, skinny bottles. Mm. But it's a whole thing. Five favorite Australian whiskey distilleries by Julian James. Blues Americana folk musician who I've never heard of. He likes Backwoods in Yakandanda, Lark in Tasmania, Sullivan Cove, Tasmania, Starwood in Victoria, Cradle Mountain, Tasmania. Good selection, really. It's not that surprising it's Tasmania heavy. Or the screen printing on your bottle is fact. Oh, Kirsten, I'm not that worried. It's literally just making conversation. Where did you pick yours up out of interest? Just looking, is there any interesting news? Trump's awkward Melania snub. Trump uses Mother's Day to blast the mothers of his political enemies. Okay, that's pretty funny. That's actually genuinely surreal. Failed to acknowledge his wife in a Mother's Day tribute. Happy Mother's Day to all. In particular, the mothers, wives, and lovers of the radical left fascists, Marxists, and communists, doing everything within their power to destroy and obliterate our once great country. I mean, he's fucking insane. Oh my God. That's so weird. He is so weird. You agreed with you. Yeah, I mean, a few of the Tasmanian ones, super expensive. 500 mils, $300. Oh, yeah. See, I almost bought some Hellier's Road at the Melbourne Whiskey Show, but I got their cream liqueur. Yeah, I mean, just, I actually bought a bottle of Lark specifically for my comparative whiskey tasting because I thought, okay, I have to have a Lark product in there. They're also expensive, so I got the blended one, the cheapest one, the Symphony No. 1, which is nice. It's nice. Didn't make it to the final four, but it's nice. It was kind of funny for me watching it back, looking at my reactions, knowing which whiskey it was referring to. But yes. And the only one I really said anything negative about was the Kate Byron one, which I bought because I like their other product, and I do have to admit to not being particularly enamored of it. which is a shame because they actually make some of my favorite products, notably macadamia liqueur. But won't be buying their whiskey again. It just doesn't do it for me. And it really came up in the blind taste. It was the only one I sort of went, to. Again, didn't hate it. It's not terrible, but it was of the 16, it was a clear last place, essentially. So, actually, it'd be a fun thing, Kirsten, if you were ever back in Melbourne and had time to come over and do a blind tasting and see what results there were. I might do a blind rum tasting because I've got a new rum later in the week, just for fun. With rums from around the world and around Australia. It's an excuse to drink, really. It's like, I'm doing a comparative taste test. I'm being sophisticated, and I mean, if you're here for a couple of days, we could do a whiskey tasting one time, a gin tasting one time, a rum tasting one time. Hell, even a brandy tasting. I have a few brandies. Okie dokie. Artichoke-y. I think if I look at, what's it? Sydney's Hotel's late night drink price hike criticised. Charging an extra 30% after 10 p.m. That's interesting. Will people leave 1-star reviews because of the surcharge? There you go. Not sure if anyone in Melbourne does that. Late night surcharge. Doomsday scenario as disaster looms. That seems recursive. String of worst case outcomes. Oh, defaulting on their debt because they're not raising the debt ceiling. Oh, what doomsday scenarios? What are they? Share prices could fall. Stock markets crumble could make other things go thing. Oh, yes, government workers not getting paid. Yes, okay. Social Security and Medicare payments disrupted. Skyrocketing borrowing costs for the government. And the US dollar would plummet, along with confidence in the entire American political system. It's just all imaginary, really. Money, international monetary systems are just imaginary. Oh, hi, Kath. That's okay. Look, honestly, And honestly, please don't ever take it personally if I go on one of my random rants about vodka. But yes, if you ever come to Melbourne, I'd be willing to make you a drink or two. Hey Matt, how are you and what's going on? Oh yeah, Megaleech, that whole thing with the American debt ceiling, it's weird. It's all made up. It's not real. And it's just bizarre. So, bombs, arson, destruction. Youths hold suburb to ransom. That doesn't sound overblown and sensationalistic. That sounds absolutely legit. Seems very, very suggestive. Oh my God. Oh gosh. Sorry, there's this stupid story going around about Chuckles and Camilla having an illegitimate baby. It's so weird. I freaking hate all those media articles about the British royals and the Harry, and it's just like, shut up. Just shut up, all of you. But yeah, the current weird one of Chuckles and Camilla having an illegitimate child is just surreal. And I think this doubtless fictional illegitimate child is supposed to be older than William. So, from a particular perspective, would be next in line for the throne. It's silly. It's very silly. Mind you, I'd love it if it was true. I don't believe it is, but I'd love it if it was true. Oof. Oh God, real estate articles are just so depressing. Like everything's so freaking expensive. Well, well, well. An Aussie business doing a 4-day work week. Who's that? Staff are paid the same as if they're 5-day week, same workload. Yeah, I'd get the same amount of work done in 4 days as 5. Easy. Family business owned ESS Shipping in Perth. How AI can build a spreadsheet. Yeah, okay, cool. Dumb articles. Just trying to decide if I'm gonna have. No, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna be Mr. Oh, all the lids back on everything, didn't I? Good. I'm good. I'm gonna be Mr. Responsible and just drink some soda water now. Soda water. All right. So, motivating along. Ooh, Victoria police officer jailed for preying on vulnerable woman. Well, like, wow, 6 months. Okay, cool. Misconduct involving 9 women. Cool. I wonder what his time in jail is going to be like. My eldest son's side hustle is exploiting his brother. That's literally what those side hustle people tell you to do. They literally tell you to fuck over your own family. It's so weird. As it's Sydney nightlife going back for one key reason. Oh, because it's expensive. Okay. Yeah, it's like, why aren't people going out? Because it's so goddamn expensive. Yeah, that makes sense. Very, 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 very big reason that people won't do it. Sorry, I'm not sure what kind refers to. I haven't been paying attention to anything I said. Or is what kind of soda water? It's the grapefruit and rosemary one. I really like these really lightly flavored ones with no sweetener, which I've never thought I would like that sort of thing. But the one I really like, the lemon, I think it's lemon and sage. They don't have anymore. You can't even get it on their website. Oh, actually, I might get that. I might disappear for a second and get that smoked pineapple mixer and put some of that. I still haven't made. Oh, that's what I might do. I might make a daiquiri with that. Not tonight. Maybe on Thursday night with my spiced rum. Make a daiquiri with that mixer. I get that. Can't afford rent, but definitely need to go out. Yeah. You just need it in with all the fucking pressures of the world if you can't do anything for fun. Like I had lunch with Abigail and Greg today. That was fun, just catching up. Low key, like pub lunch, basically. That was a just fun thing to made it worthwhile going into the office. So freaking pointless going into the office, and it's so arbitrary, but I'm supposed to do it, so I did it, and I was like, oh, you know what? Catch up with some people for lunch. That'll make it a bit more worthwhile having gone in. And I did have to pick up something from my dentist as well. So that's all good. Yeah, I am actually going to go out and get the pineapple mixer that I got for $2 instead of $20. Because no one's buying it for $20 because that's stupid. I'll be back in a sec. All right. Back with my daiquiri mixer. Hey, Justin, how's it going? So if you were foggy this morning, it was foggy in Melbourne yesterday or the day before. Lots of social media pictures. Eat serves. 60 mils of mixer to 30 mils of spirit. That's a weak-ass drink. Anyway. I'm going to put a bit in my soda water. Yes, I actually got fucking soaked this morning. Thanks, Safa. I forgot to take umbrella. It wasn't raining when I left home. Rained when I got to the city, and I had to pick up something from the dentist, which was only 2 blocks from where I work, and I thought it'll be fine, 2 blocks. And then it just fucking came down while I was getting there. I got drenched. I did actually see that, Safa. A double fatality, not all that far from where I live. Well, depends what you think is far. It's not like not my neighborhood, but my region. I meant to take an umbrella today, even though it wasn't raining when I left home. I thought it's going to rain today. Take an umbrella. Even if it doesn't rain on you, then you'll have an umbrella in the office. I fucking forgot. In fact, I walked out of the house without my glasses today, which I haven't done for a while. I'd gone a little bit walky, not far from the house, and I went, "Why is it? Oh, I'm not wearing glasses." And then I didn't have my keys either. Unfortunately, Mrs. Angry hadn't left yet. So I banged on the door and she let me in, and I got my glasses and keys. So for whatever reason, I was having a forgetful morning this morning. And yeah. So I got drenched this morning. It was ridiculous. Literally, I only had to go 2 blocks and I got fucking drenched. Definitely a senior moment, Mega H, or several senior moments. Oh, yeah. No, Justin, friggin', you need a lot of help to fucking buy property at the moment. It's out of control. It's interesting. This stuff, what they call it, smoked pineapple? Charred pineapple daiquiri mix. And that actually does have this little taste of like you've put a pineapple ring on the barbecue. Went to market at an absurdly too expensive price. Just, I don't know what the fuck they were thinking. But yes, all indicators are the product is failing because it's too expensive. Like it's 75% off on their website, for fuck's sake. Safa, this is soda and that pineapple mixer. We did this once before, didn't we, Justin? Median. And I think we worked out apartments were really expensive in Canberra. So if we're on the internet. We go Canberra median apartment price. $600,000. $600,000 if we do that search for Canberra. Sydney, if we do that search. Okay, no, Sydney, it's 776. So that's actually, what's that? That's more than 20% more expensive than Canberra. If we do Melbourne, saying 550,000. So saying Melbourne, and there's got to be a huge number of variables there, but it's saying Melbourne is cheaper than Canberra, but Sydney's 20% more expensive than Canberra. Does Canberra mostly have houses? I don't know. If we say houses, Melbourne median house. The Australian median is 650,000. No, 960,000. Metro Melbourne, 950,000. Canberra. Yeah, there you go. That's actually saying Canberra houses are more expensive than Melbourne again. Almost 1.1 million. So like 10% more expensive than Melbourne. But of course, as Saf put it, Sydney says, hold my beer. And 1.25 million in Sydney. So, yep, Sydney remains the most expensive. So there you go. Yeah, big goddamn question, Safa. How is anyone affording property if they don't have an inheritance? Well, of course, a small number of people are filthy freaking rich. Yeah, okay, Kirsten and Justin both agree it's public servants. Yeah, so yes, it's yeah, I suppose it's like a captured market in Canberra. Yeah, you get really weird kicks to housing prices if there's mining anywhere nearby. Like this even happened in like country New South Wales. I forget where it was. But it was this bumfuck nowhere town, and there was a mine started up nearby, and everyone working at the mine had to have a home, and so the value of homes in this town, were going up 2, 3, 400%, because they needed homes for all these workers, and so people are like someone whose house, because no one wanted to live in this fucking town. A house used to be worth under 100,000, is now gone up to 400, 500,000. Because it all went wacky because of this mine. But it also kills the town because, then like nobody can afford to live in the town, so no one can run the shops. And capitalism is stupid as fuck. Kirsten looking at bumping off parents. Husband doesn't like you eyeing off his parents. No, all right. Yes, it's a whole thing. Oh, yeah, so similar thing, Safi. Your mum's town got a concrete factory. Melbourne workers, same thing happened, the price increase. Yeah, and I mean, particularly like, Western Australia has a huge mining boom, so they have really wacky prices in some areas. It's like capitalism is self-defeating. It sows the seeds of its own destruction. so the two things in Port Hedland: lovely beachside mansions and fibro shacks, which go for 1.3 million. Yeah. Oh yeah. When a place becomes a trendy place for rich people to have an escape to, prices go wacky. See, Safra, it depends on whose definition of socialism you're talking about. I'd be happy to live in a capitalist system if there were controls to stop exploitation, like mainly, and like the two big ones were every capitalist has to pay everyone in every capitalist has to pay everyone involved in the supply chain that creates the wealth that they claim as theirs. They have to pay them all a proper wage, and no matter what country they're in. And also, they have to pay the long-term costs of the cleanup for their industry. Because not doing those things is bullshit, basically. Also, sorry, Kirsten, you're talking about Perth. There's no beachside mansions, just fibro shacks and the dirt of Port Hedland, but they're the same price as beachside mansions because that's all that's there. I did see, wow, there was one in Sydney at Tamarama. So it's in the eastern suburbs beaches. You know, the most famous of the eastern suburbs beaches is Bondi. But they go sort of go around. The big beaches are Coogee, Bronte, and Bondi, but there's a little one in there called Tamarama. I had a friend who used to live in an apartment there, so I went to Tamarama a bit when I was in Sydney. And there's this little, what's it called, headland, promontory, whatever you want to call it, that sticks out, and there's a house right on the point of it. So it's like uninterrupted ocean all around. And the property sold for something like $50 million. Like, it's absolutely unique. And they're not allowed to build apartments or something. But apparently the house itself's not heritage protected, but there are fairly strict limits on what you can build there. And it was a very unique thing, apparently been in the same family for more than 60 years. And yeah, it sold for like $45, $50 million. So Liam, as an American, you agree? Don't pay workers properly, incentivize tipping. Oh yeah, no. It's bad enough in country, the exploitation of workers in country, but the idea of basically offshoring production to countries that allow conditions that are really hard to differentiate from slavery. And the short-term thinking, which certainly did seem to be championed by America since the 80s, of cost cutting. This is what I mean about capitalism is self-defeating. The decisions that have been the popular decisions to make since the 80s cannot be sustained. There can be some short-term profit for a very small number of people, but it destroys companies and industries and ruins the lives of uncounted people. That sort of shit should be illegal. It just should be fucking illegal. And I mean literally illegal, as in the fucking capitalist class should be imprisoned if they're guilty of it. If they're guilty of exploiting workers, fucking lock them up until the workers are looked after. If they're guilty of creating pollution, they pay for the cost of recovering from that pollution, or you fucking throw them in jail. The idea that someone can rake in massive profits and then walk away from something, just terrible destruction to the environment that they've caused, and for them to not be responsible for the cleanup is fucking ridiculous. And yes, Liam, you just look at the trend in the last 50 years of the gap between CEO and average worker pay, and it's fucking criminal. Oh, yeah. Safa, all mineral rights under my regime, all mineral rights in Australia would be nationalised. It's that fucking straightforward. The idea of some company getting a corrupt deal from whatever government to exploit natural resources that aren't fucking theirs is just ridiculous. It just does my head in that we let these criminals steal billions of dollars that they have no right to. It's a fucking farce. Liam, it's a fabulous place. It's a great place. Certainly a great place to visit. I think it's a great place to live. I have no desire to live anywhere else. But yes, it's a big and diverse country, and can find lots of things to interest you. Should Qantas be nationalised? I don't so much give a shit about airlines. Maybe if I knew more about them, I would. But they're a very different thing. But definitely all the natural resources and whatnot should absolutely be nationalised. It's fucking criminal that this tiny number of people gets to steal the mineral wealth that they have no fucking right to. Just through scams and shitty backroom deals with governments. Bunch of fucking criminals. And I don't even care. Some say, they're not efficient. You know what? I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck if a state-run, mining operation is only half as efficient as a private sector one, because all of the wealth from that is going back to the Australian people. Fuck those fucking companies. And I don't believe it would be less efficient anyway. I think that's bullshit. Alim, you're in Pennsylvania. Okay. Regulate spirit sales. Oh, that is one of the trippy things I found out. American regulations about alcohol sales. Absolutely wild, the different laws state by state, and some of the restrictions are incredible. Yes, Lang Hancock didn't acquire. Actually, I think he acquired his death fairly. I like that you corrected it to wealth, but his death. There is an absolute lie of a story that Lang Hancock told about having to do an emergency landing on a plane somewhere and then looking at all these red rocks and realizing it was iron ore. And because there was a law in Western Australia that a private enterprise couldn't, like a mining company, couldn't profit from the work done by government surveyors. And so Lang Hancock made up this ridiculous story about accidentally discovering this. It was a complete fucking lie, and it's been basically quite conclusively proven to be a lie. He did use government surveys to find out where this mineral wealth was, which was not being exploited at the time. And he basically, through his media, blackmailed the government to do him a deal. Complete fucking scam. But yeah, no, Safi, if you want to do your head in, try looking up state liquor laws in America, because they're very weird. Sometimes it's completely controlled by the state government. The state government has complete control over what can be sold and the price at which it is sold. It's not the same in every state, but sometimes it's that. It's really wild. Whereas here, we just have shit tons of tax on alcohol. But yeah, Lang Hancock's just one obvious case. All these fucking mining companies are a bunch of fucking criminals. Lock them all up. Yeah. No, I was going to say, and like I said before about until workers aren't exploited, no, actually, just lock all that lot up, because they are fucking criminals. Under my regime, my power, I will imprison them all. Yeah, just the idea that a small number of people get to steal the labor of others, get to steal natural resources, is just like, fuck you. And they get to fuck things up and not pay for the cost of fixing the things that they fucked up. Would I sound like a dictator? Only to the people I throw in jail for life. To everyone else, I'd be a hero of the world. I'm sounding like just the worst communist dictator. And honestly, I probably would be. like whenever I joke about like the Thanos snap thing, the idea of doing that randomly is really fucking stupid. No. Kill all the fuckwits. The ones waging war. The ones murdering and oppressing people. And then, by about week 3, I will have killed all the really bad people, and I will just be down to using the power on people who mildly annoy me. Oh gosh, I'm not a beer person, Liam. That's an interesting one. Americans love IPAs and boozy beers. Okay, that's nice. Walking in Easter school. Enjoy that. Yeah, I can't really comment on beers. I'm not a beer drinker at all. Like, pretty much never. I did do the taste test recently of the fruity beer, which was very weird and didn't taste like beer. It tasted more like kombucha. It's very sweet. It was very nothing, but... Sorry, I'm just going to move some things here. I did turn it into this syrup, actually. This cocktail syrup. This was a fruity beer, which I reduced on the stove and then added sugar to. And that is now actually a really nice, light, fruity sugar syrup. That's really quite nice. So that useless beer was your thing. Oh, I see. Here's the thing, Greg. I'd always thought actual beer drinkers must hate them. They seem terrible, and they're friggin' everywhere. And I reckon, within 5 years they'll be gone. They'll just be a fad. And yes, Safa, the kitchen is much freer now that I'm not in there doing live streams and making cocktail videos. I do it all in here now. My special room. Yeah, I literally, Greg, the fruity beer I got for free. I was at a Dan Murphy's to get a couple of things, and the person said, "Oh, because you bought more than X dollars, you get a 4-pack of one of these beers for free." And I was like, "Well, I don't drink beer at all." She goes, "Give someone." Oh, there's those weird fruity things. I've always wondered what they are, so I'll get them. Oh yeah, the Offspring moving out, very nice. Their bedroom's turned into the bar, and there is the Zen room. And Greg, that is literally exactly it. They are made for people who don't want to drink beer. There's no two ways about it. Oh no, Safa, they don't taste anything like cider. To me, they taste more like a flavored kombucha. Oh, okay, that's called a buy and get. Yeah. I forget what I was getting, but I was just in a shopping mall. Like, oh, the Dan Murphy's. I get a couple of things, and she goes, "You could have one of these for free." And I go, "Well, I don't really want one." "Oh, but it's free. You could give it to someone." And so, yes, I did taste testing of weird shit in a video, and I literally had a couple of mouthfuls of the fruity beer, and it was like, this is just very uninspiring. Like, I didn't hate it. It was just like, this is very uninspiring. I can't imagine being motivated enough to drink more of this, but it made a really nice syrup. So I've kept the other ones. There's still 3 of these cans of fruity beer in the fridge. A, on the off chance someone visits who actually wants one, they can have one. B, I'll eventually turn them into more syrups. Yeah, absolutely, Kirsten. That's obviously what they were doing. All the fruity beers were trying to cash in on the seltzer market. And I think they've been successful to a degree. And yes, they do sort of sit with the ciders. I think they taste... Okay, my one taste of one of those fruity beers, I think tastes nothing like cider. As actually didn't really taste like beer either. Tasted a bit more like kombucha. Kombucha is a lighter brewed thing than beer. Not successful. How long do you reckon before they all go away, Kirsten? Because Greg's already said that as well. And I reckon, they'll be one of those weird fads in a couple of years. I don't know, somewhere between 2 and 5 years, they just won't exist anymore. And I think we'll have these conversations every now and then. God, do you remember those fruity beers? What the fuck was that about? That was some weird shit. But yes, I get that there would be cheaper from tax. Beer is taxed less than spirits as well. Yeah. Also, they do range reviews in October. Oh, I love that's a really aggressive take, Greg. I like it. You reckon 3 to 6 months they'll disappear? Because they've been around for a while now. I mean, I haven't kept real track of it, but I feel like they've been around for a couple of years. I haven't kept close on it. Oh yes, the Spirit Super Tax is out of. Sophie, you want to take the fruity beers off my hands? It cost me too much to send them to you. Also, that again, I know I did send the cocktails out. Technically illegal. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, you don't have to give away any secrets, Greg. I'm getting it. Kirsten, and you're saying next year. Okay, I was being conservative, saying 2 to 5 years. All right. They'll be gone. Well, yeah. I mean, I'd always assumed. I just looked at them and going, surely beer drinkers think this stuff is shit. And again, with the skinny cans and stuff, they're very feminine. They were obviously targeting people who don't actually like beer. They're obviously trying to compete with the seltzer market. I'm not surprised they didn't last and they're not going to stick around. They just seem weird, honestly. They just seem weird. But, I know these things happen every now and then. There's a niche alcohol product that they kind of saturate the market with for a while. I think sort of rising up at the moment are the Asian seltzer ones. I'm seeing them more and more in mainstream places. Like only, oh god, okay. See, COVID fucks my ability to remember time. Because I'm thinking pre-COVID. So we're talking, I don't know, like 4 years ago. The only way to get these Asian alcoholic sodas was from specialty Asian shops. And now they're everywhere. So I feel like maybe they're the next big thing or the current big thing, maybe. The Asian alcoholic sodas. Who knows? There's a shop not that far from me. They have these alcoholic Asian, I think they're Japanese mostly. They might be Korean. Milk drinks or milkish drinks. I got a couple just for fun because I wanted to taste them because they're like ice cream flavor and yogurt flavor, like alcoholic Yakult. And I wanted to try them, and they were quite expensive. It was like $5 for a little bottle like this. And I got a couple just for fun because I just wanted to try them. And they were quite nice, but quite expensive. And of course, to my mind, just like, they're like alcoholic milkshakes. So you just make a milkshake at home and add alcohol to it. And voila, you've got they were nothing amazing or exceptional. They're just kind of gimmicky. But yeah, darling. Right. Working my way through my soda. I think, is there any other interesting news stories? Hidden fruit in sweet and sour sauce revealed. Dun dun dun. Wowzers. Oh, what a fucked headline. 2023 represents a pretty big sea change for VR, says Meta CTO. It's like, no, dude, no one fucking cares. No one fucking cares. It's ridiculous. Oh, dear. What is all these ridiculous things? Do you have any fun things? Ooh, chatbots in hospitals. What could possibly go wrong? $1 million reward offered in renewed search for boy missing since the 1970s. That's I assume they want to convict someone. That's weird. That'd be someone who's my age. Oh god! Now this stupid royal gossip seems to be focusing on Prince Andrew because he's such an embarrassment. You know, with him being a sexual predator and all that. So, look at various headlines from media outlines about HEX. Looming deadline for students to repay their debt. HEX indexation set for June 1st to come before involuntary payments take effect. And then the Australian, stop whinging about HEX and inflation. Shut the fuck up, you toads. You goddamn toads. Well, so here's the thing, Mega Leech. I think as ChatGPT, etc., get refined, they stand a very good chance of being a very helpful tool in basically analyzing an impossible number of published medical research articles. It's going to require very skillful use of it by hospital staff to get the right results. I think it's, you know, maybe I'm in glass half full. I think it's potentially a very good thing. And, you know, so like, I'm very worried about the degree to which these tools produce incorrect information. Talk to anyone who's had serious health problems. It's a real issue how much humans in the current system do incorrect diagnoses or incomplete diagnoses. And there was pretty good evidence that surgery robots are a feasible thing as well. And yes, prompt engineers. And Kirsten, actually, I think librarians or someone very similar to the skills of a good librarian, being able to assess the quality of information. I think there's a big future for people who are very good at checking references and validating the quality of information produced by these chatbots. And oh yes, going back a bit, Safa, yes, The Australian is a far-right paper, except it's more the paper for oligarchs, very rich, powerful people, that type of far-right, as opposed to, Nazis doing their rallies on the steps of Parliament that we've seen in Melbourne recently. So, yes, in terms of far right, The Australian is just the voice of the extremely powerful, tiny minority, as opposed to the Nazis. The Nazis are more, the Daily Telegraph, the Sun, the news.com website, that type of thing, Sky News, pandering to the racists and the homophobes and all those fuckers. But yes, I think there's a big future for people who can validate information produced by these AI systems, check how good the sources are and that type of thing. If your stepdad's getting The Australian, I think The Guardian might blow his mind. And I get that's what you're going for. But yeah, I mean, it's fun. I can see, like, on the Discord, only a day or so ago, Megaleech shared a YouTube video with someone looking at what the image and video generation AIs are doing now, and the suggestion. I mean, obviously, what they're able to do now, little bits of video they're able to generate from text prompts now are like shitty, but you could just look at it and go, oh my God, in as little as a year or two, they're going to be producing really astonishing things. Like, I can definitely see me using them on YouTube within a year or two, writing some scripts and getting the stuff generated by these AI things. It's just a whole thing. Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting, and I understand and agree with the majority of what artists are saying about their stuff being ripped off by these bots. I agree with the majority of what they're saying. But the whole thing about being unemployed, again, artists creating stuff digitally now, particularly like animation and filmmaking, it's like, well, that thing you're doing on your own 20 years ago required half a dozen people or more. So that stuff you're doing sort of wiped out a whole bunch of jobs. So you worrying about this stuff taking your creativity is a legitimate concern. And the tech bros behind these companies fucking suck, quite honestly. I dislike them intensely. But yeah, I think there's a lot of people guilty of taking a simplistic, self-interested view of what's what as well. And no, Suffer, I could not bring myself to watch the Trump town hall thing. It just sounded like an absolute shit show and like a terrible decision on CNN's part. And I didn't want to validate their terrible decision by watching it. I was like, who the fuck knows what's going to happen in America in the lead up to the next presidential election? Anyone's guess. Trying to predict the future is a mug's game. Is Trump going to be wiped out? I don't know. He shouldn't be eligible to run. I mean, he's a fucking criminal on so many levels. But increasingly, the system just seems to be broken. And I find it impossible to know what's going to happen, who's going to end up on top. It's all very confusing. And a succession of stupid things continue to happen in the US, and I have no idea where it is. There's a bunch of right-wing reactionaries engaging in a race to the bottom. They're just like competing to be the worst person doing the worst thing, and it's absolutely doing my head in, the degree to which the system's collapsing. It's just, what the fuck? Just blithely taking people's rights away, and putting absolutely nonsensical laws in place that are just like the product of weird schoolyard name calling. It's just like, no, the whole thing's just weird and confusing, and I do not understand what is happening. I do not understand where it's all going to go. You know, how far are they from serious armed insurrection, something approximating another civil war? I don't know. It's just, it's very strange. It's very confusing. It's very disturbing on top of anything else. I mean, holy shit. The amount of stuff that's happened in the last 10 years that I did not expect to see. It's just, like the rise of Nazis, the increase in hate towards the most vulnerable minorities, the mainstreaming of hate and violence towards the most vulnerable minorities. I did not expect the degree of backsliding we're seeing in the world right now. It is genuinely concerning. You're really left with this, what the fuck is happening idea. It's just people, some of the people at the highest levels of power in the US just doing vile, absolutely vile, awful stuff. So, hey, I'm finishing on a downer. I don't know if I can think of anything upbeat to say right at the end of the stream. Well, this is what is, I don't know. I was just threading through things trying to find a fun, upbeat thing before I go to bed. Oh God, 10 children seriously injured after truck collides with school bus west of Melbourne. That's depressing. Welcome to, okay, this might be fun. Welcome to the Cure-verse. This is on the ABC website. Why the Cure has so many loyal, older female fans. What is it about this band that inspires such devotion? Arusha Baker's been a hardcore fan since she was a teenager. Now she's 52. Continue to pack out concert venues more than 40 years after their first single release. Outside the scrutiny of the public gaze, what do women like Arusha get up to? I scream, I sing, and I dance, declares the enthusiastic concert goer. A mix of light and shade strikes a chord Philadelphia-based Debbie Milano, another ardent Cure fan. I refuse. Again, I was a big Cure fan back in the 80s, and I still listen to The Cure. I refuse to go to concerts of old people because I used to mock this shit in the 80s. Saying these female fans are definitely not trying to relive their youth, but their passion for the music is just as fresh. And perhaps being older and invisible means their fan predilections are less likely to be surveilled and analysed. It allows them to be free and simply enjoy the music they love. Oh, that was a bit more of an up thing to finish the stream on. Oh, yes, eating a cherry is a bingo line, but I didn't make a drink with a cherry in it tonight. I've just been drinking soda water for the last hour. I'm not watching anything tomorrow. This is Angry's birthday. We're going out for lunch, and we're going out in the evening to a really flash place with the offspring. So you keep an eye on socials, because this, I don't know, it might just be raining. It might be miserable. Our timing might be really bad. But this place is meant to have really flash views. So maybe there'll be some good photos on my socials. Maybe not. Who knows? Anything could happen. But yes, so bit of a big day tomorrow. And then I'll be back for a live stream on Thursday night. Who knows? Yes, the next fucking week is meant to be miserable. Rain on and off. Maximums no higher than 15. Minimums in single figures. Bit of a miserable week. Real lead into winter this coming week, I think. Sigh. Anyway, see you fine folk later. And yes, thank you, Megadich. I'll pass on birthday wishes. I'll probably be back on Thursday night, but I'm going to go sleepy burbos now. So I will say